Have you ever found yourself doing everything right, cutting the salts, hitting the gym, eating all the healthy stuff, only to look at your blood pressure numbers and they're still stubbornly high? It is such a frustrating puzzle. Well, today, we're going to decode the hidden signals your body is sending and reveal a surprisingly simple solution you might have missed. Does this sound a little too familiar? I mean, you've cut way back on salt, you exercise, you don't smoke, you eat a really healthy diet. But every time you get checked, those numbers are still elevated. It's not just a one-time thing, it's consistent. And wow, that can be incredibly disheartening.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that very paradox. Then we're going to uncover the real hormonal driver behind it. We'll identify some so-called healthy habits that might actually be the trigger, expose a hidden fat trap, and then finally, we'll land on a simple, practical solution.
Okay, let's dive into this paradox. It is so common, especially for really disciplined people, particularly those over 60 who just feel like they're failing no matter what they do. They're told if you do the right things, the numbers will go down. But what happens when they just don't? Let's get one thing straight right now. You are not failing. Your body isn't just ignoring all your hard work. It's actually responding, very precisely, to powerful underlying hormonal signals that have been running in the background for a long time. Once we figure out which signal is really in charge, everything else starts to make perfect sense. So, for decades, we've been told a very simple story. Too much salt equals high blood pressure. And look, salt definitely plays a role, for sure. But for so many people, it's not the main character in this story. The real traffic controller, the hormone with this massive influence over your blood pressure, is insulin. To really wrap our heads around how this works, let's use an analogy. I want you to imagine your entire circulatory system is just a busy highway. If we can visualize the flow of traffic, we can understand what's really controlling your blood pressure. Okay, here's how it works. The cars driving on this highway, that's your sodium, or salt. Your kidneys, well, they're the exit ramps, and they're designed to let any extra sodium leave the system. And the traffic light that controls whether those exits are open or closed, yep, that's the hormone insulin. So here's the million-dollar question. What happens if that traffic light is stuck on red, or maybe even just flashing yellow all day long? You see, cutting back on salt is kind of like reducing the number of cars getting onto the highway. It helps, for sure, but if the exit ramp is closed, you're still going to get a massive traffic jam. This is exactly what happens when your insulin is always high. It's sending out 3 continuous commands. First, it tells your kidneys, hey, hold on to sodium, which creates that traffic jam. Second, it keeps your nervous system just a little bit on edge. And third, it literally prevents your blood vessels from fully relaxing. With those commands running 24/7, your blood pressure has no choice but to stay high. This brings us to a really critical question. What is keeping this insulin traffic light on all day long? And ironically, it's often habits we think of as perfectly healthy. It's not about eating junk food, it's about the timing and the frequency of our eating. Just take a look at this totally typical day of eating. You have breakfast, maybe a coffee with milk or cream mid-morning, lunch, an afternoon snack, dinner, and maybe a little something late at night. Even if every single one of those things is healthy, each one triggers a rise in insulin. With a schedule like this, insulin never ever gets a chance to drop back down to its resting baseline. Let's be really specific here. Eating small, frequent meals, the old advice to boost metabolism, that actually keeps insulin elevated all day. Liquid calories, like smoothies or protein drinks, get absorbed so fast they cause these sharp insulin spikes. And eating late at night, that means insulin stays high while you sleep, preventing your body from doing its nightly repair work. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, but wait, I'm not overweight, so this can't be my problem. And this is where we run into what I call the invisible fat trap, because looking healthy on the outside doesn't always mean you're metabolically healthy on the inside. This shows the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got subcutaneous fat. That's the stuff you can pinch right under your skin. But on the other side, there's visceral fat. This is the hidden, really dangerous fat that wraps around your internal organs, like your liver, and it acts like its own little hormone-disrupting factory. So here's the problem. Even if you have a normal BMI, having too much of this visceral fat can make your body resistant to insulin signals. To compensate, your pancreas has to work overtime, pumping out more and more insulin just to keep your blood sugar in check. And the result? You guessed it, chronically high insulin levels, which, as we now know, lead directly to high blood pressure. Okay, so how do we fix this? The good news is it doesn't require some crazy extreme diet. The key isn't just what you eat, it's when you eat. It's all about giving your hormones a scheduled break each and every day.
The whole principle is actually incredibly simple. You just need to give your body a break from the constant work of digestion and insulin production. This isn't about fasting for days or going full keto. It's just about creating a little structure and a pause in your day. A really great place to start is just to consolidate all of your meals into a 10 to 12-hour window. So, for example, if you have your first bite of food at 8 in the morning, you'd aim to have your last bite by 8 p.m. at the latest, or even better, by 6 p.m. That automatically creates a 12 to 14-hour break overnight. Here's your practical checklist to get started. Step 1, just stop snacking between meals. Step 2, try to finish your last meal a little earlier in the evening. Step 3, outside of that eating window, stick to things like water, black coffee, or plain tea. And step 4, aim for that 12 to 14-hour break from food overnight. It's really that straightforward.
And when you give your body this break, something amazing happens. Your insulin levels can finally drop. That traffic light turns green. Your kidneys get the signal to finally release all that stored up sodium. Your nervous system starts to calm down, and your blood vessels can finally relax and get their flexibility back. And over days and weeks, blood pressure begins to stabilize all on its own. So if you're one of those people who's been doing everything right but getting no results, it's time to ask a new question. This isn't about trying harder, it's about trying differently. Could the simple act of changing when you eat be the missing piece you've been looking for to finally solve your blood pressure puzzle?